starts now.
We have to pass the bill so that you can find out what is in it.
Turn those machines back on!
And we have to start by building a wall, a big, beautiful, powerful wall.
Show me the money!
You are fake news.
Oh, good for you. And how was it?
I don't know when they decided that they wanted to make a virtue out of selfishness.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
Well, that's the revolution, starting live at Lake Effect Radio, streaming live right now at lakeeffectradio.org/studio. So, Thieves and Lovers, we got Brandon on the line, all the ways over there from Baltimore. How you doing, Brandon?
Hey, how's it going, man? Whatever you just did was like a wall of static, and I actually dropped the phone.
Oh, oops.
But I'm happy to be here. No worries.
Don't worry, you'll see it on the video afterwards, and that it's actually... It took... For like the past, about a year ago, I always did like the first show, last show, and kept coming up with names and that for about like 2.5 years, and actually came up with an actual opener. It'll sound cool when you hear it on the other end, when the video is
posted. I'm having a really hard time understanding you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, I just can't understand you. It's like garbled.
Huh.
Sorry.
That's weird.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, that's technology for you. How about now?
It's about the same. We'll push through it.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Technology can't always be nice. It knows it's hump day. So I gotta ask, seeing you with the email that we got, all that, so how did the name come about with Thieves and Lovers?
Yeah, you know, I get to ask that a lot. There's really not an interesting story there, unfortunately. No anecdotes. I just thought that it was, kind of a sort of ambiguous name. I thought there was a lot of room for, like, stylistic growth within the name, which is really the main reason I ran with it.
I gotcha. So, going off of that...
That was like the most pretentious answer I could have given. I'm sorry.
No, sometimes it's a story behind it, some don't. Some they just make up a story on the spot. It's not the first time, it's not that elaborate story. No, I get it in that. But sort of going off of that, so how would you best describe your group and music to somebody that hasn't heard from it before?
I mean, we pitch it as, melodic rock with like really driving guitars. I mean, it's definitely toward the, lighter end of the rock spectrum. But moving back to Baltimore from living in Pittsburgh for 3 years, I unfortunately had to, assemble a new band. So kind of going back to that first question, with the stylistic growth, we definitely want to expand, both ways. We want to have songs that are way, way, way more down-tempo, and then, of course, like much heavier stuff. So kind of finding our feet.
I gotcha. Now, sort of roll off of this. So out of your guys' own music, what would be those top 3 songs that would say these are the best that we have?
It's a good question, because the ones that would be a direct answer to that question and the ones that are really fun to play live aren't necessarily the same. But if I'm trying to, give like 3 songs to somebody who's never heard the band before that I think would win them over, I would definitely say Underneath.
Okay.
The Rain Season, which is off of the second EP we put out. Underneath, Rain Season. Probably a song that I'm actually working on right now, that is not released yet. It's sort of like a bossa nova, like rock song. It's got a really cool groove, but those would be the 3 that I would pitch first.
Okay, I got
Those first 2 have been out for a while, so they're all over Spotify, and I think they've been on Lake Effect before. So
Yeah, what you send us, all that. Let me see what we got for sure. I'm sort of saying, yeah, no downing me, or no, don't think about me.
Oh, don't think about
Yeah.
me. Yeah, that's the new one.
So yeah. But rolling out that, what sort of got you into that start of saying, hey, I want to get into music. This is sort of the direction I want to go.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
So what was that like one thing that happened that was, hey, I want to get into music moment?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
It's always been like passion's almost like an understatement, but ever since I was a little kid and could basically pick up a cassette tape. Yeah, I'm a '90s kid. Still a millennial. Like since I could first pick up a cassette tape and put it in the tape player and hit play, and yes, that's how it used to be done. I've just always had this insane fascination with sound and melody, and then of course as I got older, I was I want to play an instrument, so I started playing around I guess 14. Started playing guitar, but I didn't really get serious about it till about 17.
I gotcha.
I'm in my, I guess, early 30s now, just to give it some perspective. Damn, I should be way better than I am.
Oh, that's like me. I'm up there now at 31, so I gotcha. Trust me, I remember back in the day, the good old cassettes, doing that, or, always they had that CD player in the car. They take it, you put it in your radio, you bring in that blank tape, put it in there, record it, so you could go play it in your car.
Oh, yes, I did plenty of that.
Nowadays, you go to somebody, they would be like, wait, what? Those things?
Oh, yeah, technology's changing. People don't even buy physical albums, really, anymore. I mean, the very, very top artists do, but, it shows that we're doing, medium, large-size clubs and, small theaters and stuff. They just don't buy physical mediums anymore, so it's all streaming now, which is cool because, they have, instant access to whatever they want. It's kind of an ADD way to listen to music, but the way that everything's going.
No, I got you. With that, especially nowadays, a few times going to different local groups around here and that, they're not even selling CDs, they're selling flash drives with their music on it.
Yep, exactly.
Then, download card, this gets, this album plus this single. Okay. No, I get you.
Yeah, what really matters is that people are interested in supporting, up-and-comers, and no matter how they're, ingesting the music, as long, the fact that they're doing it is what's really meaningful, so.
Oh, I gotcha. So I'm sort of going to go a little, at first this might sort of sound weird, but it's an interesting one, different perspective. So you're the main act. You could have anyone open for you. Who would you want?
Oh, man. I
know.
think I have too much humility to answer that question. I feel like that's really hard to answer genuinely, unless you're like Foo Fighters, you know what I mean? But that's an interesting one. I've never had that. Give me a second here.
I know everyone at first is like, wait, what? It's normally, the opposite way around.
I think, to answer the question as it's asked to me this moment, I would say Tom Petty. And then after my set, I would bring him back on for an encore set, out of respect.
No, I gotcha.
That's a good one, man. I've never done a lot of these, and I've never had that one.
Yeah, that's what I do. I come up with a lot of stuff. You would be surprised. Like the best example is this. From a year from today, where do you want to see your group progress to?
Yeah, I mean, I think really just taking that next step on the business side, because right now we're handling all of it and mostly me, just because that's what I do, for the quote day gig. So there's some insight that I get, throughout the day that translates to the band business. But it's so exhausting to, run the entire business side, booking shows and pitching, radio stations for a new release and doing the PR thing. And by the time that's done, you don't even want to play anymore because you're so exhausted. So to have like a partnership with a management company or a record label or something that can sort of take that business onus, the ownership of having to do that away from us, it would be a dream come true.
No, I get it. It's a lot of people out there that always, it's sort of a good thing, but yeah, it's the exhausting thing. But then too, they like the thing of it takes that burden away necessarily because you can focus more on the music and writing and all that instead of needing to worry about all that Facebook, this, that. No, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's two halves of a whole, and that's, the creative side and then the business side. But I mean, you get to a point where the business side just takes over time-wise. It's a total time suck. Mm-hmm. And I think that translates to the creative side. You feel if you're tired, you're less creative. If you're stressed or, worry about making deadlines, because, a new release has a shelf life to be called a new release. So,
I get it.
The struggle is real.
It's true. I get it. So, what would be your biggest influence in the coming up music, with your guys' music?
Like another artist?
Yeah.
It's hard to pick just one, but
oh, you could throw
Jimmy
more than
World,
one.
Honestly, Jimmy World has always been my favorite band, and the other guys, really like them. Maybe not their favorite, but I really like their sort of the spectrum of the sounds they have, with different songs. So overall, I think they'd be a safe pick.
I gotcha. Now, I'll sort of do of this, sort of going off of it. So if you could work with or do a performance with any artist, who would it be?
Ooh. If I'm super honest, I'm going to embarrass myself. But I think I got to say it because, I'm a pretty genuine guy. Taylor Swift. I am an unapologetic Taylor Swift fan.
Even with the newer stuff?
Not so much, honestly. But I think, the album 1989 is amazing. Red's amazing. Fearless is really great. So, yeah, I know a lot about her discography. But yeah, she would be my pick. I would love to collab with her.
I gotcha. But going a little off, so how does the songwriting progress, happen for you?
The songwriting process?
Yeah.
Or progress? Oh, it comes in, a bunch of different ways. Generally, music comes first. And I went to school for audio recording, media production, which is actually how the band started. So I demo it. I have a home studio, and I demo it out and, get the tempo and the grooves and what I can to sort of work on the arrangement, because sometimes you have to hear it back when you're not playing it to sort of get some perspective. But and then, yeah, if I feel comfortable enough to play it for people, then I'll present it. And then it's a democratic process from there on out.
No, I get it. Especially, at first you sort of do it, even like me sort of doing here and there, like promo stuff in here, that it's sort of do it together. You take a second, you come back and listen to it. then you sort of make past judgments and changing and all that mumbo jumbo.
Yep.
No, I get it. So off of that, how did you guys all meet one another?
So yeah, like I was saying, the project started when I was in finishing up college, my senior year. My sort of like thesis, senior project was to create an album, like an EP or a full length album, but to create it from the beginnings of nothing to a finished project. So I recruited some classmates, and we started playing. We recorded. We started playing live, and that's who's actually on the Seasons record from like 3 years ago or 4 years ago now. Wow. And then that was in California, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that. And then I had to leave due to work and, some life stuff happens. So then I reformed a band when I moved to Pittsburgh. Work and life happened, so I had to move to Baltimore. So we're sort of, like I said, we're getting our feet, but been sort of a gypsy the past few years.
No, I get it. Especially with that life thing, it's kind of hard to... You reestablish in that, then try to get established, then you move on to the next place. No, I get it.
Yeah, and I mean, it had nothing to do with them or anything. It was just, it sucks that life happens, I guess is the best way to put it.
I know. It would, every once in a while, it would be a lot more easier if you had sort of that roadmap or the book that you know what everything's going to happen as.
Yeah. I mean, that would take some of the thrill, I guess, of the unknown out of life, but it would definitely be handy to know when things are coming so you can brace yourself for sure.
I get you. So, I'm going to go of... So, what one song best describes your group?
I would probably say Underneath again. So far, it's been our most popular song, but I think it's pretty representative of the overall vibe.
Okay. Then, of this is sort of a little... At first, you're sort of going to be like, wait, what? But if you could play any venue in the United States, where would you want to play at?
You know what? I don't think it's even around anymore. It was called Club Nokia. It was in downtown Los Angeles, and it was a really weird sort of like very properly acoustically designed smaller medium theater. But so there was like, obviously the floor level with the bar and everything when you get in, and then there was a ton of balcony seating. But no matter where you were from like, front of the stage to completely back of the house, not only did you have a perfect view, I mean, obviously it's farther depending on where you are, but nobody, like there was nothing obstructing your view, and the sound was perfect from any location in that building. Even in the bathroom, the sound was like phenomenal. But I don't think it's around anymore, but I saw a lot of awesome shows there. I saw Jimmy Eat World, the 1975, I saw them twice. I saw City in Color twice there. So like, not only do I love the acoustic design of that venue, but I saw a lot of my like life-changing influence bands there. So there's that association with it as well.
Oh, I get it. But I'll sort of go for anyone that's up and coming, trying to create a group or try to get their project going out there in the musical world, what best advice would you give them?
Stay positive. Be ready to be rejected constantly. And just know it's a lifestyle investment in terms of what you have to sort of sacrifice to do it. So I think there's obviously really no way to understand it until you're in it, but like it is a sacrifice. Like I work like 6 jobs and then play music as well, so to get by. So there's like it's going to take a lot of hustling, and don't be discouraged when your progress isn't on the track that you think it should be, despite your best efforts. Like you really just have to keep your head up, and for every one rejection you get, you're going to get 5, hits, as we call them in PR, like whether it's, like an interview like this or added to a Spotify playlist or a show. So just focus on the positive and be ready for anything, because that's how rock and roll goes.
No, it's true.
And know how to play your instrument. And know how to play your instrument. I feel like I should add that in.
Yeah, because you got this few every once in a while out there. No, I get it. But sort of leaping off of that in a way. So what was your first instrument that you ever played? And I really don't count the kazoo and the recorder.
I don't think anybody would.
No, I get you.
It would have been bass. I actually started on bass. And I know there's it's like stereotypical to like mock bass players. But I have mad respect for bass players. But I just didn't bond with that instrument. I didn't really feel like that much of a connection to it, and I played it like a guitar anyway. So I switched to guitar around like 15, 16, after like a year of playing bass.
Okay.
And I just bonded with the guitar a lot more, because I'm more about melody than rhythm. So I feel like the guitar was a better fit for me.
Yeah, especially when you say that, yeah, I definitely could see that it's a more better fit. But
because there's those guys that are like natural bass players that, they jam with you for the first time and you sort of just stop the song and you're like, dude, you're really good.
Yeah.
And then there's the guys like me who are guitar players who are playing bass, and I didn't want to be one of those guys. So.
Oh, I gotcha. So I gotta ask, in a way, I should have did this a little earlier, since you sort of brought up 90s, and I adopted this because we actually have one guy in our little scene around Cleveland that he always creates all these different playlists. He's a singer-songwriter named Kevin Conway. So what would be your favorite 90s jam?
Favorite 90s jam? Ooh. Now we're talking childhood. These are childhood memories. Oh, man. I mean, it's going to change hour by hour. The one that I'm thinking of that comes to mind right now, probably Semi-Charmed Life.
Okay.
Third Eye Blind. I don't know why. That's just I heard 90s and favorite song, and that's the first one that came to my mind. So that's one of my favorite songs of all time, though, not just the 90s. But
no, I gotcha. So how would you rate your own performance ability?
How would I rate it?
Yeah.
It depends on how the day went prior to performing. That's a weird question. Like, do you mean could you elaborate?
Well, in a way of when you go to a show, how would you rate yourself of like performing, the whole logistic of the performance, the show, what to expect?
Sorry, you were breaking up. Could you repeat that?
So how would you sort of rate off of you playing? What are you going to get at the venue and from the group?
I'm sorry, it's totally distorted.
How about this?
That's a little better, yeah.
I think it might be this microphone. Let me go grab another one. How about this?
Yes, that is definitely better.
So it's something with that microphone. Except, there we go. I had a cord wrapped around that one. So, how would you rate it off of how you guys you perform there? Not including everyone sort of goes off the show. That's sort of where I'm going with that.
I'm sorry, I just don't understand the question.
So when you're rating your performance of sort of.
Okay, you're still breaking up.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Hello?
Yeah, it sounds like mic distortion.
Why are you doing this today?
It'd be awesome if you were singing metal. Be an awesome vocal effect.
How about that?
See, that's better, but then when you go into the question, it just goes right back to distortion. I don't know what the difference is.
So let me stay like this. So
yeah, that was a little.
Huh?
That's the first time you said, "Is that good?" That was good, but then every subsequent sentence was really distorted, and I can't understand it. I'm sorry.
How about there?
Yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're
I'm
good.
really not a needy rock star, I promise.
No, you're good. It's something being weird. I think I got 2 mic cables going bad. So, how would you rate off of music or your performance at the venue, then your with your music, like how you perform?
How would I rate it?
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Okay.
Every night is amazing. There's pyrotechnics, there's dancing, there's crying, generally me. No, I'm just joking. Well, that's the fun thing about playing live. It's, you don't know what you're walking into. So every night is like the Wild West. And I think it's hard to answer that question really specifically because, there's so many factors, but I think it's more about the desire to do it and to care about the audience and to do a good job, whatever that means. Obviously playing well, but there's a lot of factors that go into a live performance, like if it's the right audience in front of, hearing the music, if there's, the visual aspect. So I think it's really hard to put a number rating on it. But that being said, I think I'm amazing and everybody should come see us. I'm joking. I'm joking, people. I'm not this cocky, I promise.
No, especially how humble you are before in that, we get it. Not really every once in a while, you sort of got to, horse around just a little.
Yeah, I mean, really, it takes an incredible amount of confidence, and that sort of, again, goes back to one of the last questions about the advice that I would give, and that's, believing in yourself, and, even if you don't, if you have a cold, and you're not going to sound amazing vocally or whatever, never let them see you sweat.
I gotcha.
Which is really hard to do sometimes, but.
No, I gotcha. For sure. So, in a way, going off of that, you ever have sort of like performance anxiety?
Oh, yeah, every time. I think it shows you care. I think the difference between the initial kind of stage fright that people get and the kind that people who have been doing it for a while get is that the newbies don't understand the course that it takes. Like, you wake up, you're nervous, and then you get a little more nervous progressively toward the performance, and then you get out there, you play a couple songs, and it's like the best time of your life, and it goes away. Like, they don't necessarily know to expect that because they've never done it before. But it sort of gets easier, but I think it shows that you care, that how you're perceived, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
No, it sort of keeps you on your toes.
Exactly, yeah. Doesn't make it any less annoying.
Yeah, that's true. No, I get it for sure. But sort of rolling off of that. So, what's that one best experience you had, whether performing anywhere, whether it's, working with another band?
The best one I cannot talk about on the air.
Okay.
But it's a good question. It's actually, I mean, just talking about me, and not Thieves and Lovers, the band that I was in LA, we sold out a couple shows at the House of Blues on Sunset before it closed down. So that would probably be a personal best. But as Thieves and Lovers, probably just the entire touring experience. It's super fun to go to all these different places and meet all these people from all walks of life. I think that's probably the most fun part about the touring thing, because it sort of offsets the homesickness. But yeah, I would probably say touring and meeting all these different amazing people.
Okay, cool. Now, sir, go off of. So, what would be your dream tour that you would want to do?
So we would obviously be playing first. So yeah, Thieves and Lovers, and then Jimmy Eat World, and Goo Goo Dolls, Tom Petty.
That would be cool.
I think we could sell at least 25 tickets to that show.
Oh, I would hope, and then some. That would be an awesome one, I had to admit.
If you can't tell, I'm a huge Tom Petty fan.
No, I get it.
Cycled back. You know how you cycle through, you have like phases of bands where you like all you do is listen to them, and then like A Day to Remember. I was super into them when I saw them live with Blink-182 and like 3 years ago, and then I didn't listen to them, and I've been listening to like nothing but A Day to Remember for like the past 2 months. So you go through cycles.
I get it. That's like the last time he came through, like a year, and was it half a year prior to him dying? That, he came around to Cleveland. It's like, found out the last minute. It's like, no, he'll be back again. And then it's like, now, reality hits. It's like, damn, that was a stupid idea.
Yeah, I've actually heard quite a few people say exactly what you just said. I think that's interesting that many people sort of picked up on that. I think that's cool.
Yeah, that's my one regret there. But it's not much. But the one nice thing is we have sort of a good tribute band that's around this like northeastern Ohio area that they mock him pretty good to a point, but still it's not that. Yeah,
no. Tribute artists are never going to, there's no substitute for the real thing. But if you don't have access to the real thing, or the real thing doesn't exist anymore, it's definitely not a,
horrible
bad
option. Yeah. No, I get it in that. So is there one thing that you want to see change in the music industry?
Oh, just one?
If you have more, feel free.
I would say right now the disparity between how easy it is to put your music out there and how hard it is to get it heard. I think it's because I work in music technology and the music business aside from the band, and I just think it's insane that it has never been easier for a band to publish material, record it at home, whatever, like quality material, release it so anybody in the world can hear it. And then the dichotomy between that and how difficult it is to get people to pay attention, which is why it's so awesome to have opportunities like this interview where, you guys did actually care enough to open up a pitch email and, play the song and offer your time so that, you know, I can tell the story of the band and stuff. So it's like that means a lot to up and coming artists. Like, you have no idea.
No, I get it. Well, it sort of goes like back in the day when I sort of took over here in 2010, that, you know, before we had like 5 people that just came in randomly play music, you know, said, well, we're going to sort of go away from it. Our department wasn't really helping, so it's like we went towards the student club. And it's like, well, let's sort of get like a format, try to bring people in, like, you know, musical, that try to actually go like the real radio station thing. Back in the day, I couldn't even get someone to drop off a CD.
You couldn't?
No.
See, that's so weird, because a lot of radio stations like this that I've talked to have been like, yeah, we get so much, like, they're not listening to it. They just have, there's so much volume of submission that it's hard, you know, how do you stand out? You don't. You just hope you get lucky and are the right one in the pile that's reached for that day. So I think that's interesting. That's an interesting statement.
Yeah, that's like, because the early 90s that they sort of had it, they lost, you know, that key group of students, and that sort of went into, you know, a weird funk, and that just random people doing their own thing, not really caring. Then try to make that turn again. Yeah, it was a good like year and a half that was sort of that funk of like a real horrible, try to get that one to break that, you know, be that icebreaker.
Yeah.
So, but that's like one thing. Whenever we get people come in, or, you know, like your email, you know, you listen and that, then it's like, not including every once in a while, we're sort of guilty. It's a lot, you know, we have a lot going on at that one. It's like, you know, we'll get back to them, you know, start, you know, type in that, you know, save it as a draft. We'll get to it, you know, tomorrow, or, you know, within 36 hours. So, but we always take a listen to everybody that goes and drops anything in.
Yeah, that's cool, man, because a fair chance is all we ask. You know, we expect rejection. We expect, you know, approval, submission, and stuff like that. But the shot, that's all we're looking for.
No,
you know?
I get it. I get it. So who was that one person when you decided to go say, hey, I want to go focus in the music, that was really that like inspiration, the one person that helped you along that journey?
I think there were 2.
Okay.
When I was like 18, I took like official vocal lessons at like this conservatory. Not like music lessons at a music college, but I mean, that sounded really crazy, but no, it wasn't because I could like sing my ass off or anything like that. But, so he really helped with, you know, obviously not only with helping learn how to sing properly and stuff like that, but just with the whole theory thing. And that's when music theory really started to click for me. And, you know, obviously music theory translates to way beyond vocals, you know? So I thought his name was Roy Justice. He was a really awesome vocal teacher, and I learned a lot from him in like the year or 2 that I was studied under him. And then more recently, I was the replacement bass player back in like 2009 or 8 in this band, and the singer guitar player guy's name was Chris. He was kind of sort of like an old head,
Okay.
like a dude from like the Sunset Strip kind of days, but he was a really nice guy, amazing guitar player. Like, it looked so effortless for him. And even though we were into like different styles of music, he had been around for a long time, so he gave me a lot of advice. And at that point, I was planning, like, actually like structuring my plan to move out to LA, and he had, you know, did that in like the 90s or whatever. So gave me some tips and about doing that kind of thing, and he was just overall a really good mentor.
Okay. As they're going, do you have any like certain groups you like to collaborate, you know, go and schedule shows and back to back with one another?
Yeah, we actually played with this sort of like a country punk act. His name's Austin Lucas, and the Bold Party is the name of his band. We played with them back in, I think, August, and I think it was a really good stylistic fit. They were awesome dudes and just really professional, like on stage and off. So I would love to arrange even like a mini tour with them. So Austin, if you're listening, Thieves and Lovers, man, Pittsburgh, back in August, we can do it again.
I like it. Especially if you're going to be down there in Pittsburgh and that. I would make the, probably hour and a half drive? Or no, 2.5, about over there. Especially because my actual family used to be back from that area, so.
Yeah, you mean Cleveland to Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 2.5. It's really expensive, though. It's like $40 in tolls.
Yeah. Well,
same with coming from Baltimore. There's just, I don't know why Pittsburgh charges you to get into their city, but it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it's the darn turnpike and all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that shenanigan in life. So, is it any certain song of yours that means the most, that has like a personal connection because of something that happened? That time of life that sort of helped you get through it?
Yes. Technically all of them, but one more so than the rest. It's called The Rain Season. I think it's the last song on the Seasons record. And it was also included in the list of the top 3 that we went over a while ago. It's like a slow acoustic ballad. But yeah, I would say that one.
Okay. Then off of that, let me see one thing. So with like your new releases, do you have a certain like theme, mood that you're trying to go with?
I heard new releases and go with. What was between that?
So with your new releases, is it any certain mood or theme that you're trying to go towards?
Oh, mood, yes. Mood or theme. So what I believe will turn into the next release is already like half recorded. And I had a policy, no acoustic guitars at all. Because, they're obviously a big part of the sound up to this point. So no acoustics, faster tempos, more, I guess, accessible.
Yeah.
More like, just rockier,
I gotcha. So what do you most enjoy about being a musician? Then likely you could even throw in what you sort of hate every once in a while.
Enjoy would be trying to think about how to put it into words. I'm staring at my rack of guitars and in love and trying to figure out how to paraphrase the sentiment. I love playing guitar. Like I sing, but guitar is just, I don't know, way more than a hobby. It's like, even if I could never play like live again or anything, just as long as I can do that sitting alone in my bedroom, I'm good. So I would say it's really just the connection with the instrument.
Okay. For sure. So, what was that most, let's say, magical or like inspirational performance that you really like affected certain fans of yours, gained or grabbed someone's attention that sort of helped them through a time?
Yeah, I would say that would be the show we did in Pittsburgh. I believe it was at Stage AE. It was like an offshoot venue. I can't remember what it's called. But it was like, we thought it would be, 10 people, 15 people. We didn't expect much because both the bands were from Ohio and we were the local opener, and Pittsburgh is a great music scene, but it can be, hard to get people out. It's tough to get around the city, with the way it's laid out and stuff. So, I mean, we understand. But so we grabbed some dinner and then came back, and there's like a line around the block, and we're like, we I guess incredulous is a good adjective. We thought like there was something else going on at the venue. But yeah, we get inside and it's like sort of packed, and we brought a bunch of people. The other two bands brought a bunch of people, and it was just like we expected nothing, and it turned out to be like one of the most awesome shows. The crowd was super awesome, like into it. And I think it was just such a pleasant surprise that.
Oh, I gotcha. So off of that, I'll sort of go of, let's see. So I'm looking at one thing I sort of wrote down and that I was thinking of like earlier today.
Oh, I do that too. If I don't write it down, man, it's going to be gone.
Right, it's true.
It happens with lyrics in like the middle of the night, and I'm like, I'll remember it tomorrow. I never do, man. I've lost so many great lyrics, but I digress.
I feel you there. So does music sort of run in your family?
No, not at all.
No?
I'm the only a lot of things in my family.
No, I gotcha. So how do you handle a mistake during a performance?
How do I handle the what?
A mistake.
Oh, mistake. Play it off. Act like you meant to do it. That's the only way. I mean, obviously, it's tough. There's facial expressions that just happen as like a knee-jerk reaction. But, yeah, I would say play it off. Act like you meant to do it. Don't acknowledge it. Keep going, like whatever it takes to not. Because, not only if you make it obvious is the audience going to realize like, oh, yeah, he did just kind of mess up there. But it's going to mess with your head. And, by the time your brain registers that you made a mistake, you're way past it. So I would just say keep going.
I feel it.
It's tough, though. Everybody is their own worst critic, which can be a good thing or a bad thing.
No, I get it. I'll even admit that sort of defines me every once in a while. So that's human nature, especially when you're doing this incredibly personal, like sort of intimate thing, which is, performing for people. You feel very like vulnerable, very like naked up there, metaphorically. So it's easier to, I think, let it bother you more than it should. I definitely get it. So off of that, what was that one thing I was going to ask? So, no, I did that. See, that's the one bad thing. I sort of lost my place off of a few things. We'll go. So what do you most admire about like the famous musicians like Jimmy World that sort of inspire you?
I mean, that would be sort of a different answer for every inspiration, but I think overall, really just that endless sort of hunger to do it. The drummer that I went to school with that was on that first record back in California, Scott Palacios, who also plays piano, accordion, percussion on pretty much every recording. We just live on opposite ends of the country. I love you, Scott. He would always tell me, like, people, people ask why do you still play music? Like, are you still pursuing this like seemingly sort of impossible task? And his response would always be, because I can't not do it. It is such a part of who I am that there is no other way. And I couldn't agree with that more.
Oh, I gotcha. Not including, what are the upcoming, what you have in store for like the rest of the year, like the start of 2020?
Yeah, so we just released that new song, "Don't Think About Me," about a month ago, and that sort of caps a 3-song EP that sort of evolved from a divorce that I went through about a year and a half ago. So we're just finishing up the promotional cycle for that, playing a couple end of the year shows, but sort of going to take a hiatus, and I mean, it's like a short one, regroup. Additionally, I work a lot. I'm a writer for quite a few music magazines, and I do marketing and sales, and so I just would love a couple months to sort of sit in my pajamas and play guitar while planning for the next thing. But next year, new album, the touring thing, really just building on the momentum that, because 2019 has actually been a pretty good year. 2018 was, I don't think we released anything.
Yeah.
And if we did it was from 2017. It just didn't get out till 2018. Yeah. But so 2019, we released a ton of stuff. Definitely looking to continue that.
Oh, I gotcha. So with the production of coming up, recording your songs in the studio, so how does that sort of go for you guys?
Yeah, like I said, work on ideas and demos and stuff by myself, so I don't waste anybody else's time on a dead end. Can't polish a turd, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, once I feel like it's presentable, bring it in. Democratic process, hashing it out, then record demos of that, sort of how it evolved from that first one. Sort of see where the deficiencies are, and then when it's ready, take it in for a professional recording process. And that's a little tough for me because I am a trained audio engineer. So I think it's important to bring in the right people for the right part of the process. Like, obviously the songwriting thing is pretty much between the band, but in terms of like production, arrangement and stuff, I think it's really important to have an objective third party there.
No, I get it. So that one person will give an outside opinion that's not working close from it, that can, steer you.
Like, we're, obviously as the musicians, as like the songwriters, you have these attachments to these songs, whereas a producer is, on the project because he brings, or he should be on the project because he brings the artistic element that's needed to really push it over the top. But really they're there to be like, sort of like the coach, the boss, and like, you're not doing this well enough, or this needs to be changed, or you don't really want a yes man in there who's just going to say, okay. Because I've worked with people like that, and, not to disparage anybody, if that's your style, that's fine. But I don't think it helps artists grow. I think those guys are just there to record music, not produce songs. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. That it's in a way, they're there just to do what you want, to make sure it's recorded in a way that they make money, or here and there, maybe put just a small bit. But the ones that really care want to sort of, this is really good, but you're lacking right here. You should try to, beef this up. It'll be sound, stronger. Like that, right?
Yeah. And I mean, there's definitely a place for that. But I think you get to a point where you can only make it so far on your own, and that sort of goes back to that whole business thing that I would like to take away the responsibility of having to deal with the business aspect. Like that sort of goes into production as well. Just perspective.
That's true. But I got one last question for you.
Okay.
So, what makes your music unique?
Unique. How does anybody be unique anymore, right? I think, and this is going to sort of like the first question, might sound super pretentious. That's not where it's coming from. I think that people connect with songs that came from a real place. And so while that's not unique, I think it is the differentiator, or one of the differentiators.
It's definitely true that if it's not like a common thing people hear like in the mainstream music, that's a little off that beaten path, that it differentiates you from like Taylor Swift, etc. down that line.
Yeah, I mean, you get different things out of different bands. You listen to certain bands for different reasons. Like, if I'm getting my teeth drilled on, at the dentist, it's either Slipknot or Tupac all day, because, that music sort of puts me in the a comfortable headspace to get a hole put in my head. But I think that regardless, it's that connection that that the listener makes with the music, that I think makes every band unique. That signature that they sort of put on it. And that's why no two musicians sound alike, no two guitar players sound alike. There's always going to be even micro differences, because no two humans are alike.
True. But yeah, outside that, not only do you want to tell people where to check out your page, where they can find your music and all that?
Yeah, so, we have all the social channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Spotify plays are always rad. Like we were talking about, streaming is the new normal. So really appreciate the Spotify plays, Bandcamp, website, Thieves and Lovers. It's out there.
Are you out in like the Apple store and all that too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got all the stuff that's on. So there is some material on Bandcamp that's not available anywhere else, which might be worth plugging. But all the stuff that's like on Spotify and sent through the distributor, Apple Music, Google Play, iTunes, which I don't think exists anymore. I got a weird email. iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, all of them. There's like 92 of them. So whichever one you use, you can find us. That's
true. It's here and there. I'm still, when people come in, they come and say, was it TuneCore or something?
Yeah, that's the one we use, because when we signed up with them, they were like the only option for digital distribution, which shows how long ago it was. I've heard good things about DistroKid and CD Baby, and they each have their pluses and minuses. I will say, as a piece of advice to other artists, it is extremely difficult to migrate your catalog from one distributor to another. So make sure you do your research before you commit.
Fair enough. But I want to say I appreciate your time, Brandon. I'm sorry about the mic issues.
No problem at all. I feel likewise, and really appreciate the chance to get the story out there, and your time and the airplay on the station as well. So.
Oh, definitely. If you got anything else too, we could add it in.
Just everybody keep supporting local music, regional music, national music, worldwide music. Just keep supporting music.
And Yeah, with any other music too in the upcoming future too. If you want to, feel free to also send it over to the email and that, and we'll get it on in our rotation too.
Oh yeah, you guys are going to be. You're on the short list of radio stations because you guys have always been cool. I think we've been working together for at least a couple years. So.
Yeah, for sure. But I hope you enjoy the night. Take some time, go in your PJs and that, relax, and appreciate you taking the time to come on and talk about not the whole sort of backstory of all about your music group and everything.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we'll be in touch, you know, for other future things, and maybe especially if you end up over there in PA or Pittsburgh, and that I'll try to make it down there.
Yeah, Baltimore is like really far from Ohio, but that is definitely on the tour considerations for next year because Ohio's got an awesome scene. Cleveland, Columbus. So yeah, definitely want to make it over there.
Yeah,
Plus, what? I'm generally a vegan, but White Castle, man, come on.
It's true. Especially with my sister living in Columbus. It's a lot of those around. Not much up in the Cleveland area, but definitely more Columbus area.
Yeah, I was actually on my girlfriend and I went on like a weekend trip to Cleveland when we lived in Pittsburgh, and I was trying to find a White Castle, and I was Googling, and there was like 6 White Castles in Cleveland. And we went to like 2 or 3 of them, and like it was just an empty building. And I guess they had all like that franchise just left Cleveland altogether, but it didn't take it off Google. So
I'm not shocked.
We wasted a lot of time looking for mini hamburgers for me. That never happened.
Maybe
Very disappointing.
Yeah, that's a little info. Maybe that'll sort of help you in picking where you want to sort of go in Ohio. Yeah, Columbus, they have them a lot more down there.
Yeah, because she's like, the closest one is Columbus. And I'm like, all right, we're going to Columbus. And she's like, it's like 3 hours and one way. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's go to the grocery store. There's someone there. Not the same, but all right. Yeah. Well, thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
And thank you. Hopefully you have a good night.
All right. Thank you. You too.
Bye.